This is another one of my pickups. Now, this I bought myself for Christmas. It's the Star Trek book, Strange New Worlds, boldly explained, new edition, revised and updated. So by the looks of things, judging by the cover, it's gonna have everything from the Star Trek original series up until Discovery. Probably the early seasons of it, not the current season 4 that's on now. Now, I'm a big Star Trek fan. I pretty much like all of them, but I didn't really grow up with the original series. I mean, I watched episodes here and there, but not from start to finish. So there was only a few, maybe caught what was on TV, but I did watch the original, the Kirk's crew, all right, the 6 movies that they made from the Star Trek the motion picture up until the 6th and last film of the original crew, Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country. But I grew up with The Next Generation because I think that was around about 1987 when that first aired. So I was quite young then, so that's what I grew up on. And then obviously followed by Deep Space Nine, which is probably one of my favourite Star Trek series because it was so different. And then obviously you had Voyager, which I watched from start to finish. And also you had the Next Generation had their own set of movies from Star Trek Generations to Star Trek Nemesis. So I've watched all of those. And then also I've already said Voyager, and then Enterprise, which I actually liked. There were some wonky moments there, but it's a shame it got cancelled. But I liked Enterprise as well. Um, Now you've got this. Now you've got like Discovery, and the obviously you got Star Trek Prodigy, which I haven't watched yet, and then I have watched the Lower Decks seasons 1 and 2, and I've actually enjoyed that. Obviously, you've got the Calvin verse movies that came out from J.J. Abrams, and then those movies I've watched them and I've enjoyed them. Obviously, some of the movies are better than others. The Next Generation, pretty much the Next Generation, I have seasons 1 to 7 complete on DVD, and I do have seasons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Obviously, because they remastered it. The original, I've got the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray. Obviously, because you can turn the effects on and off, where it's got the updated and all the old effects. Deep Space Nine, I had the complete seasons of that from 1 to 7. Obviously, that hasn't been put on Blu-ray yet because from what I've heard, stories of that they would have to redo the effects, so that would cost money. So they've done that. Voyager, I own the complete series to that as well on DVD, 1 to 7. Enterprise DVD, I own that as well. Seasons 1 to 4 because that's all they ever made before it got cancelled. Um, I think I did buy seasons 2 and 3. I'm trying to remember what seasons I bought on Blu-ray. Let me double check. Yeah, yeah. I've got on yeah. So I do have Enterprise 1 to 4 on DVD, and then on Blu-ray, I've got seasons 3 and 4. But I'm hoping to upgrade everything to Blu-ray because obviously it's a lot better. Um, the original Star Trek crew, from start motion picture, which is the first movie to Undiscovered Country, which is their last film. I own that all of them as a Blu-ray steelbook movies, and then obviously up from the Next Generation movies. I own them on Blu-ray steelbooks as well. So maybe I might. Obviously, if you look at my channel, right, you'll find where I've done videos on them, and then all the J.J. Abrams ones. I have the first one that J.J. Abrams did. Um, I've got two copies of it. I've got the original 3 disc Blu-ray, and then I've got the steelbook. The third one, Into Darkness. I've got the normal Blu-ray and the steelbook, and then the last one, which I forgot who did did that one. I've got that as a normal Blu-ray. So yeah, you can see I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I've got loads of Star Trek books. You name it. I've even had the con badge from Deep Space Nine, but I don't know where it is. I mean, that was worth quite a lot of money. So I've got loads of Star Trek stuff. So I am a massive Star Trek fan. So as you can see here, you got this book here. I bought this from a bookshop, and at the back here it says, "Who was the captain of the first Star Trek Enterprise?" I think, well, technically it was Captain April, in which the galactic quadrant is planet Earth located, and what caused the burn. The Star Trek book answers these questions and many more. This comprehensive guide takes an in-depth look at the key concepts, extraordinary characters, and momentous events that have defined and continue to shape the Star Trek universe. Packed with illuminating graphics, memorable quotes, iconic stills, props from the TV series and movies, the Star Trek book boldly explores and explains all you need to know about more than 50 years of thrilling adventures across the final frontier. So this is published by DK Books. So as you can see here, you've got the Klingons. That looks like that looks like Gowron. Deep Space Nine. Obviously, you've got the Borg sphere from Star Trek First Contact. You got Suru from the Star Trek Discovery. Uhura from the original series, and obviously the Calvin Universe Captain Kirk. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, it says the original price was $18.99, but I only ended up getting this in a Black Friday deal for £5, which for me is an actual bargain for what you get, and it being a hardback as well. So we'll have a quick look through this, and I won't spoil it all, okay, in case you want to buy it for yourselves. As I support, this is a new edition, revised and updated, so every year they'll probably release updated versions of the book. So obviously this probably end of this year they'll have probably season 4 of Discovery, because obviously now it's far in over 900 years into the future, and then obviously you've got the Lower Decks already on, and Prodigy, and then Strange New World starting up this season, and season 2 of Picard, which I don't think is on this, so as far as I know. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff on it when it comes to the contents. You've got the Unknown Universe here, Dangerous Savage, Child Race. You've got some stuff here. The Russian Whiz Kid, was it Pavel Chekhov? By any other name, the USS Enterprise NCC 1701A, a new Enterprise, USS Enterprise NCC 1701. Obviously, you got Captain Picard there. I don't know if that's from what show it's from. And obviously, you got here the Enterprise D version. It's got War Correspondent Jake Sisko, The Family Business, Rom, Nog, and Lita. So obviously, that's Deep Space Nine. The Dancing Doctor, some Beverly Crusher. Guinan, the Enterprise, it's one of my favourite ships, the USS Enterprise NCC 1701E. And obviously you got Deep Space Nine, you got Benjamin Sisko, the Emissary, Rebel Officer Kira Nerys. And then you got a little piece here on James T. Kirk. And obviously you got Jadzia Dax and Burnham from the first season of Star Trek Discovery. I think that's the Gorn. I'm not. Someone can correct me there. You got like an introduction here. So for what's great here is that obviously you got the literature here. You got the color pages, and it's kind of got like a gloss kind of a finish, so it's kind of feels smooth. Obviously the Q, Janeway, Neelix, and that's got Chakotay in the background, and then Sisko, and I can't remember his name. It's Admiral. I can't remember his name, because that was during the Dominion War. And you got Riker and you got Captain Picard, and that's from the original series. Obviously you got Captain Pike. So I think this is from. This looks like this is from season 2. Season. I think maybe season 2 or 3 I'm trying to think what episode of Discovery. So that's pretty cool. And obviously you got the timeline. I think this is a timeline here. Oh, and a debate. Obviously you got the different quadrants: Gamma quadrant, Delta quadrant, where Voyager was lost, Alpha quadrant, and then you've got which is obviously where Deep Space Nine was, or was it the Gamma quadrant? Sorry, the Gamma quadrant. And then you've got here the Beta quadrant. So you got lots of, as before, you got, and obviously you got that brand new smell. Obviously this is from Enterprise. Obviously you got the ship from Enterprise, which is the prototype Enterprise, which was the first one. Obviously this is Zafram Cochrane from and the Phoenix from Star Trek First Contact. Also, I remember this episode. This was from Voyager, the Blood Fever, when B'Elanna Torres has to end up mating with someone, and she ends up choosing Tom Paris. And obviously, you know the history. You know what the rest is history. What happens with him? Looks like Spock doing a mind meld. This is from Enterprise. So the Andorians were in the original series. Chancellor Troy's mother, and you got Dr. Phlox from Enterprise. But yeah, there's so much stuff here. First contact protocols. So that goes into detail about the was it the Prime Directive and then how they can't interfere with races that haven't got warp drive. Oh, I remember this episode is when Quark gets thrown back in time to the 1960s. That was a great episode. This is from our possible future from All Good Things, which was influenced by Q. That's from, looks like Discovery. This is quite recent then, because it must be season 3 because of the Orion chain. And then you've got Book, who's obviously who first appeared in season 3 of Discovery. And you got Burnham here. So yeah, this is season. So it's probably. It should have everything from seasons 1 to season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. I mean, I didn't think it would be quite as recent as that. Obviously, you got this guy here, Nero, from the Calvin timeline. It's from the first Star Trek movie, or the reboot, if you want to call it that, or the Calvin timeline version, and the temporal recursion of 2233. You got old Spock meeting new Spock, which I thought was really cool. Also, I want Benedict Cumberbatch in Into Darkness and who his character really is, which for me, all I'll say is that it's not as good as the second movie. It's not as good as it's trying to be like the Wrath of Khan, because obviously there's a spoiler with who he really is, and to me it doesn't have the same gravitas as the original actor who played that character. But even though Benedict Cumberbatch is a very good actor, so I'm not taking that away from him. Parallel universes and alternate realities, and they've done a lot of that in the throughout the different Star Trek shows with the original Next Generation. Obviously, you've got the Mirror Universe, which started in the original series. Deep Space Nine had the Mirror Universe, so did Star Trek. Voyager, I don't think ever did. Enterprise did in the 3rd season, when they had that 2-parter episode, and they even redid the intro, and then they even redid the ending of Star Trek First Contact, but then it was actually different, so that was actually pretty cool. Obviously, this is the episode Parallels, where Worf keeps slipping into different realities, and there was even one reality where the Enterprise was almost on the verge of destruction because they were losing the war against the Borg. I mean, that was a really, really good episode. I mean, it's one of my personal favourites. You've got the Mirror Universe Kieran Reese, and then obviously the Mirror Universe Spock. Obviously, you can tell that he's the Mirror Evil version because they always have facial hair or beard, or even an earring, who knows. And Emperor Philippa Georgiou, it's the Mirror Universe version of her. You got the next chapter here on Starfleet, which is going to be interesting. And you got the timeline here which seems to be a common theme what I've seen so far, where they show you the timelines of them of the different subject matters, right? Which I think is kind of really great. Obviously, you've got Starfleet Academy, and obviously the different ranks of insignia, which have changed from the original series as they've gone on. And then you've got the pips. Obviously, you've got ensign, lieutenant, junior grade, lieutenant, lieutenant commander, commander, captain, and then admiral. Obviously, Deep Space Nine we've got here. This is from the first Calvin Universe Star Trek. The Kushimoru was a simulation where Kirk reprograms, where it's a no-win scenario, and then Kirk ends up reprogramming it so he ends up winning. And so on both timelines, Kirk reprogrammed it, which was quite cool. Yeah, I think this is Admiral Marcus. I think it is. I'm not sure who he's. Obviously, this is Section 31, which you saw originally in Deep Space Nine. Obviously, you got the Enterprise NX-01, and then eventually you saw its sister ship, the Columbia. It's a shame that the Enterprise never got to, because it just would have been interesting to see the Federation, seeing how it all started off. You got the Navy man Malcolm Reed. It's from Enterprise. Space Boomer Travis Mayweather, who was the pilot aboard the NX-01. You got Hoshi Santo, again Enterprise. The Delobian Doctor, Dr. Phlox. Zora the Great. Obviously, the ship's computer on Discovery, and then we're obviously not going to be a complete spoiler, but we're starting to find out, obviously in season 4 of Discovery, that the computer is actually sentient. So that's kind of really great. That what I love about this book so far is there's a section devoted to the ship and her sentientness. So that's fight or flight. That's obviously Suru, another great character. Mushroom Man is Paul Stamets, and he's Dr. Hugh Colbert. 2 great characters in Discovery. And obviously that the two characters are obviously, as we know, that are gay and then married. It's nice to see that there's progression in Star Trek, which is kind of great, which is what it's always been all about. Obviously, you got the stuff to do with Ash Tyler, and the twist that they did with him, right, which was really great. It's a shame people won't see his character again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We've got Tilly. Gabriel Lorca. Obviously, there was a twist with him. Don't want to spoil it in case you haven't watched it. The USS Discovery crew. Obviously says family. You got the original captain, not the original Captain Pike, but the second Captain Pike in the Calvin timeline, and then we've got this version of Pike in the normal timeline, if you want to call it. And when we here we have number 1. Obviously now, as you already know, that they've making the series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think they've already finished the first season, and it's already been renewed for a second season, so that's kind of great. And what I like about it, obviously, we'll see more of the Enterprise, we'll see before Kirk, and it's gonna go back to serialized episodes, so it won't be like the big bad at the end of the series like Discovery's doing. It'll be single filed episodes, so that's gonna be something to kind of look forward to, which I know some people don't, like the big bad of the Star Treks. You got Captain Kirk's father, played by I forgot he's played by again. By Chris Helmsworth. I know that originally there was a plan to do a 4th Star Trek film where Captain Kirk has to team up with his dad, even though his dad's dead. I don't know how they would have explained that, but I know that's what there was talks about it years ago. I know that they want to carry on the Star Trek franchise now, with and doing a set new movies. But whether it not all be the crew from the other Calvin timeline, or was something completely different. Obviously, you got Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy. I love the relationship banter between Spock and him, where Bones would basically temper and start insulting him, and then obviously Spock wouldn't respond, which would wind up McCoy. I just love the relationship between the two. Obviously, you got the same characters, but obviously played by different actors in the Calvin universe, which was kind of cool. I think the way that the actors took on the mannerisms of the original characters, right, was almost pretty much spot on. They even look like them. You also got Uhura, the great communicator. I think she's supposed to be her character's meant to be in Strange New Worlds as well. And then obviously got the Calvin timeline version of that character of Uhura. You've got the miracle worker Montgomery Scott. And obviously he appeared in Star Trek Generations, and he appeared in episodes of Next Generation. And I think it was really great seeing Montgomery Scott meet Geordi, who was also an engineer. I thought that was brilliant. And obviously you've got the version of him in the Calvin timeline. This is from Star Trek. This is from Star Trek Beyond, which I actually really liked. You got Sulu and Chekhov, and obviously he ends up becoming the captain of his own ship. And obviously that's the Calvin timeline version of him. But you've got Pavel Chekhov from the original series, and then you've got the Calvin timeline version of him. It was such a sad it was such sad to hear about the death of the actor that played the Calvin timeline version of Chekhov. I mean, it's really sad to hear the way he died at such a young age. This is the New Enterprise, the Calvin timeline version of the Starship. You've got the Enterprise D version, which was also a much larger ship, and then the Saucer section, as people might probably already know, could separate. And also you got the different. Obviously you got the size variations of the starships, so you can see how big the starships were, and so you can see how there's such a huge difference. Obviously the smallest being the NX-01, and also obviously again you got a timeline of the Enterprise D and the Battle of War 359 was against the Borg. Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and 2. One of my favourite two-parters. Was you got Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard. One of my favourite characters, along with Benjamin Sisko, Janeway. I thought Janeway started off obviously because she's a female character, and then what I liked as well, she was kind of more emotional. But what I liked about Janeway is that Janeway could end up, if you really wanted, she could be ruthless and a hard ass, which is what I love about her character. Yeah, this is from, so they have included this. This is some stuff from first season of Picard. I think the second season apparently they said it starts in February. So it's great that it's actually got the stuff to do with Picard. I didn't think it would have anything to do with that in there. And again, you've got the timelines, but this one is the Jean-Luc Picard timeline, which is kind of really great. And obviously, you've got number 1, William T. Riker, and as you know, there was a transport accident. There was 2 Rikers, so the other Riker became Thomas Riker. This is from Star Trek. Obviously, this is from Star Trek Picard. If I remember the T, I think it stands for Thaddeus, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, Thaddeus. Because he had a son. Obviously, Lieutenant Commander Data. Also with the emotion, when he gets the emotion chip. And obviously, this is from Star Trek First Contact. He also had a brother called Law, who was evil, and he was the first one. You got Geordie LaForge, who people say apparently I look like. He becomes the chief engineer aboard. You've got Worf, who served aboard the Enterprise D, and then later moved to Deep Space Nine in season 4 onwards. You've got Deanna Troi, the empath. You've got, obviously, it's more obviously catch stuff here. Obviously, we've got Deep Space Nine, the emissary with Benjamin Sisko, who started off as a commander, and then I think by the end of season 3, he ends up becoming Captain Sisko, which was great. Great captain. You got Odo. I loved Odo, who was so serious when by the end of the season, by the end of the final run, he kind of lightens up. I liked the relationship between him and Quark, who pretended that they hated each other, but really they really liked each other, really. Obviously, you got Jadzia and Ezra Dax. Ezra Dax appears in the 7th and final season of Deep Space Nine. You got Dr. Julian Bashir, who, you end up finding out that he was genetically engineered. You got Chief Miles O'Brien, who originally was on the Enterprise D and ends up getting a transfer to Deep Space Nine. So it's kind of cool that you see some continuity with some of the characters. And then I think there's a scene in the pilot of Deep Space Nine where in the extended version of it, Picard gives him his send off, and I thought that was a very fitting touch. Obviously you got Quark, who runs his own bar, and he's always doing side deals, and then obviously Aldo's always trying to catch him, and there's just like this love-hate relationship between the two characters, and I mean, it just shows you how good the writing and the actual actors were. Obviously, you got Benjamin Sisko's son, Jake Sisko, who we saw grow up from season 1 to season 7, and ends up becoming a war correspondent. Obviously, you got the alternate universe where he was older, and then something happens to his father, and then you see like an older version going through time and having to save his father and have to sacrifice his life. And the older version of him was played by Tony Todd, who also played Worf's Klingon brother in Star Trek: The Next Generation. You've got the Panabibis, Rog, Nog, and Lita, and obviously we know the actor who played Nog sadly died a year or two ago. I mean, I've spoken to him on social media, and he was a really nice guy. Always had time for the fans in replying, and always really nice. And, some actors don't have to do that. We've got Voyager here. We got Catherine Janeway, who loved her coffee. Obviously, we've got Janeway as a Borg. We got Chakotay, who was a part of the Maquis and ended up becoming commander. And you got Seska. The storyline with her, nasty piece of work. You got Tuvok, who was always serious, but then he was funny when he wasn't meant to be, but then he actually was because he was so serious. Obviously, you had a storyline between him and Neelix. Yeah, you had Tom Paris and his father, Admiral Owen Paris, and his best friend, Harry Kim. You got B'Elanna Torres, who becomes the chief engineer, and ends up later becoming married to Tom Paris, who's, I don't remember correctly, she's half Klingon, half human. You got Harry Kim, or should I say poor Ensign Harry Kim, who never got promoted. This is from an episode, I think it's called Timeless, where Harry Kim and Chakotay end up get home back to the Delta Quadrant, but all the rest of the crew die. So then they decided to try and find a ship and try to send a message back through time to save the crew. That was a very, very good episode, and it had Captain Geordie LaForge in here so that was also another alternate universe. One of my favourite characters, the Doctor, the EMH Mark 1. I loved seeing how his character grew from the first series right up until the 7th series, and him eventually getting his mobile emitter. So he was another great character, played by the Robert Picardo. Neelix, who was a Talaxian. You had Kess, who their species don't last. They only live for like several years, and they end up developing telepathic abilities. Obviously, you had 7 and 9. It was a former Borg. Jay Ryan's character appears, I think, in season 4. I think it's part 2 of is a 2-parter called Scorpion, I think. And now she's in Picard, and she's in season 2 of that. A character here that you could argue that she's this is from Discovery, that she's related to Data. They built from her character, so that's kind of cool. You got more of the characters from Picard season 1, which is absolutely fantastic. Oh, Kai Packer. Oh, I remember her. Nasty piece of work. 1 minute she would pretend to be like as if she was good, then she would pretend as if that she was bad. As I thought, it's quite a long book. You've got stuff to do with Latinum here. Obviously, this is from Discovery. Sorry, Star Trek Enterprise season. Season 3. But you've got the 5 distinct species v Zindi. They end up killing a lot of the people on Earth. You've got Noonien Khan Sung from Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, played by Ricardo Montalban. I think this is the Gorn. Obviously, we know the famous fight between the Gorn and Kirk. The Orion Syndicate, who must be a bunch of criminals. You've got the Klingon Empire. Kahless, if I remember. See how I remember all the stuff. Obviously, this is how they designed the Klingons for season 1 of Discovery, which a lot of people weren't happy with. You've got the Romulans. I don't know if this looks like it may be from Star Trek Nemesis. Some stuff here from Star Trek Picard, and obviously you got again another timeline. There's the Romulan Empire. You are Deep Space Nine. You've got Elim Garak, who just says he's a simple tailor, but we all know he was a spy. But it's like you kind of never quite knew whether he was or wasn't. And you've got Carl Ducott, who you could never quite work out where he wanted to be loved and liked, but then at the same time he was a nasty piece of work, and he was a good foil to Sisko. So he was one of my favorite all-time bad guys in Star Trek. It's like you kind of loved it's like you love to hate him, so to speak. You've got the Vorta, more than there. You've got the Jem'Hadar, who obviously get their strength from Ketchasol White, so they're drug dependent. Oh, this is one of my other favourite episodes where in Deep Space Nine, where they're losing the war against the Dominion, and then Sisko has to fake that the Romulans were attacked, and then so he has to get them into the war, and so he has to go by dirty means to get the Romulans involved. Obviously, you've got the science and technology here, which is actually pretty cool. Obviously, you've got the holodeck, which they haven't invented, which I really wish they would have, because that would be kind of cool. This is the James Bond that inspired I think this is episode. I think it's called Dear Doctor, I presume, where it's kind of a riff off of James Bond. And the characters are stuck in the holodeck, and then Garak and Dr. Bashir have to play out the scenario to save the crew, whose patterns are stuck in the holographic buffer. Set to stun, weapons technology, new life and new civilizations, which is what the motto is of Star Trek. And again, the timeline. This is from Star Trek: The Motion Picture with William Decker, should I say? Remember that creature here, this entity, who ends up killing off one of these the Enterprise crew. I don't remember it. Obviously, that's Q's son. This is the Robin Hood episode, and that was from Voyager. Again, that was the other Q. This is the Robin Hood episode featuring Q, and this is from the next generation. obviously this is Cisco and the Prophets, and and obviously the evil versions of the Par race, which Calder gets involved in. And then in the back of here we've got a glossary of all the information. So all in all, you get 336 pages of goodness. So yeah, I would definitely. I know this is a bit of a long one, but it's just my passion of Star Trek and why I love it so much. And this book is very, as before, it was more up to date than what I thought it would. Because obviously it wouldn't have season 4 of Discovering it, because obviously that's currently airing. But the fact that it's got season 3 in there. Obviously, I didn't see Lower Decks there. Maybe it is in there, but because I've obviously missed out pages, but maybe it might be. If it is, then I'll put it in the description. But yeah, I would say if you can find this book, even if it's up to £10-15, if you're a Star Trek fan, I definitely would purchase this. If you are somebody that geeks out and loves all the detail and information with all the Star Trek series, and if you can get this cheaper, then get it. But even at £15-10, I'll still say it's worth it. I'm just really glad that I managed to get this for £5, which for me is an absolute bargain. So I'm glad I picked it up. Anyway, I'm sorry for the long video. As I said before, just me geeking out on Star Trek. Just me being a geek. I hope people found this video informative. Feel free to share and to like this video. If you already haven't, please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care. Bye for now. Stay safe and have a happy new year.